Okay, we are back, and we are now going to go and say a very good morning here to the Honorable Member for Grand Bank, the Minister of Justice, Government House Leader Darin King. Good morning.
Good morning, Randy.
How are you, sir?
I'm not bad, thanks. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm a racist today, I just want you to know, and apparently you may be as well.
Well, I have to say, not always do I agree with your position, nor do you with me, but...
Shock of shocks.
I've never seen you as a racist. I have to say that. I'll come to your defense on that one for sure.
Yeah, I had to end that once you start getting on with that, you've lost all credibility on this issue. But I got to say to you, and I had Minister McGraw, and I'm going to say the same thing to you, Minister King. You know, from the evidence I see on our poll and everything else, and the past history here, the indication that the government of Newfoundland and Labrador would actually enforce its laws when it comes to hunting these caribou. A lot of people, I'm going to say, are distrustful. That may not be the term. They're not confident that the government is not just paying lip service and really won't actually enforce the rules.
Sure. Let me make one quick comment, Randy, on your previous comment first on the racist piece, just to sort of clue that up. You know, what I find that sometimes in politics, just like you do at hosting a show, I guess, is sometimes when people don't like the argument, they turn it to a personal issue, and I got the sense that's what happened in your discussion this morning. So I wouldn't be too offended or take...
Oh, I'm not. I kind of move on. I agree with you on that. Sometimes that's actually what happens. But when it comes to our relationship with Aboriginal people, whatever it is, whenever anything falls off the rail, that race card, as they call it in the U.S. so often, has a tendency to be played. And quite frankly, when we're dealing with the annihilation of a species of wildlife that the Innu desperately need, I just can't accept the race card being labeled on because we said a decision they're proposing to make is stupid. Because it is. It's stupid to go out and kill the last of those caribou.
Agreed, and point taken. But on your general comment on the enforcement, first of all, I guess I don't see it as a matter of trust. What we're dealing with here is a very big public issue, as you know, and we have had challenges in the past. What I've said yesterday and today is that we are committed to enforce and uphold the law, and the law of the land, as of approximately 4 o'clock yesterday, is that it's illegal to hunt the George River caribou herd. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into how you can enforce the law and what it takes to actually achieve the results that people hope for. First of all, we'll stop people and we'll arrest people and we'll do within our means whatever we have to do, as we will with any other opportunity where a law is being broken, and we expect enforcement officers to uphold the law. But there's also a societal responsibility here and expectation that people in Labrador in particular, and it's not only those who are telling you today that they're going to continue to hunt, but we would hope and expect that everyone will cooperate with government and help us and assist us in enforcing the law. Now, when it comes to certain circumstances, there are likely going to be challenges. And, for example, you find a situation in St. John's a few years ago where there's a standoff in a house. Someone buries themselves in and the RCMP are outside. So, an easy solution to that might be to go in and simply kill whoever's in the house, and then it's done. There's no standoff. But that's not what society expects nor wants to see happen. And I don't think anyone wants to see the government of Newfoundland go in and start shooting and killing people to try and restore order in this particular situation. So I totally agree. You can't do that, but you have to, at some point here, it has to be recognized that this is going to require a proactive, not reactive approach, because the sad part in this is what we talk about when we're talking about enforcement now, even from what I'm hearing you say to me, Minister, it is after the fact. We will charge people who shoot these caribou, but once the caribou is dead, it becomes a little bit moot when the effort here is to do whatever we can to protect the remaining animals. I agree 100%, and that's why we've been doing the kinds of things we've been doing, including extensive collaboration and cooperation with people in Labrador. As Minister McGraw said to you, and I think Minister Henderson was very clear with yesterday in the announcement, that this just didn't happen yesterday. We've had ongoing discussions with the people of Labrador and the relative elected officials in Labrador talking about the need to restrain the hunting that's taking place and potential outcomes if we don't do that, including the decimation of the herd. My particular officials, enforcement officials from Fish and Wildlife, are on the ground. They're talking to people. We're trying to outline to people very clearly what the consequences, and I don't mean legal consequences, but what the moral and ethical consequences are if we continue this hunt. That there will be no more caribou in Labrador in that herd, and that's a simple fact.
That's the point.
The decision the government has taken is not about wanting to enforce a new law. The decision we've taken is for the benefit of the people of Labrador, the people who rely upon that caribou for a food source, among other things. So we're trying to do this to protect the people. So the enforcement side is going to be a challenge. We all recognize that. In any potential situation involving people where emotions run high and, people lay charges like they're doing with you today, that it's their God-given right and those types of things, we recognize that there are going to be challenges around the enforcement side. But the reality is that people have an obligation, and I think the public has an expectation for all the people in Labrador to support and uphold this law. And in instances where it's broken, we will do our best to the fullest extent we possibly can to enforce the law. And if that means charging people in a reactive manner, then that's what we'll have to do.
Well, you do understand.
My hope, sorry, just to finish a quick thought, Randy. My hope, through all of the avenues we've chosen to take, including my conversation with you today, is to remind people this as the Justice Minister, because we don't want to be going in and getting into conflicting situations. We don't want to be charging people. We don't want to be fighting with people. We want people to obey the law and stop hunting, and to follow the rules that Minister Henderson laid out yesterday. Unfortunately, there are likely going to be circumstances, as you know and I know, where that won't happen. And if we're put in that situation, then we'll have no choice but to react then, and we'll react as best we can with the resources we have.
Darin King, the Honourable Minister of Justice, Government House Leader, good to speak with you today. And let's hope that you don't find yourself in that circumstance. I do believe that is what's really necessary. But I have a feeling that if you do find yourself in that circumstance, I think the people of Newfoundland and Labrador are going to demand of the government of Newfoundland and Labrador a different approach than they've seen in the past. I think that's a fair expectation and a fair comment, don't you?
Yeah, I think you're right, and my commitment to you and to people of the province as the minister responsible is that I'm prepared to take whatever action we need to take if in fact we're put in that situation. But I also want to say to you and say to others, as any law enforcement agency would say to you, is that if we're put in a very high risk situation, we will weigh the balance of the outcome we can expect to achieve with what the cost might be for us, including any potential of putting someone in harm's way. And we're not at this point in time looking at trying to sacrifice lives over this either.
Yeah, absolutely, I would totally agree. No, you don't do that. Minister, good.
Randy, sorry, I know you're going to finish. I appreciate the opportunity. This is an important discussion. I think the more we can talk about this to dispel people's intentions to go out and break the law, I think the better off we'll be for it. And I'll certainly keep in touch with you over the next week or so as things transpire.
Please do. I appreciate that. You have a great day.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Take care. Bye-bye. The Honourable Minister of Justice and Government House Leader Darin King on all of that. You know what? I never asked him. I should have asked him. I never thought to ask it. I should have asked him. Darin, where's the government of Quebec? Where's the government of Quebec? They have an Innu population as well, loading their firearms, coming into the northern parts of their portion of Labrador as well as our portion of Labrador. They don't recognize boundaries, and I don't care about that. Where are they?